The objectives at Gold Beach on D-Day were to secure a beachhead and move westward to capture Arromanches, so to establish contact with the American forces at Omaha. They were also to capture the town of Bayeux and the small port of Port-en-Bessin to link up with the Canadian forces at Juno to the east. On the day, they were to face roughly 2,000 men of the German 352nd Infantry Division and German 716th Infantry Division. Beginning in October 1943, improvements to fortifications along the Normandy coast were made by order of General Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. Taking Gold was to be the responsibility of the British Army, with sea transport, mine sweeping and a naval bombardment force provided by the Royal Navy as well as elements from the Dutch and Polish navies. D-Day was the largest amphibious landing in history, involving hundreds of craft of all sizes. A sea-going vessel shorter than 200 feet is considered smaller than a ship and therefore described as a craft. The officers and crews for the LCTs would arrive at the terminus railway station attached to the former Southwestern Hotel, codenamed HMS Shrapnel, HQ of the Combined Operation Military Movement Control, where they would receive their sealed orders before boarding their vessel, for example in the Empress dock shown in the film. LCTs or landing craft tanks are seen in the film making their way along the River Itchen. These vessels were usually built in 3 sections and transferred to their debarkation port for welding together into their 120-foot lengths. LCTs were notoriously difficult to maintain on course in strong winds or currents. In the film we can see Chessel Bay, the LCT assembly point prior to embarkation. The landing craft are in a row in the style of a taxi rank, ready to embark with their cargo for Normandy. It was often left to personnel on the quayside to manage the day-to-day embarkation. Chessel Bay is one side of the River Itchen, and as the time for departure closes, so the landing craft crossed the near side, alongside today's Shamrock, Oyster or Saxon quays before embarkation. At the beginning of the film, these troops from the 50th Northumbrian Division are seen in a transit camp on Southampton Common, some engaged in physical activity to alleviate the boredom as they await their orders. When the order for D-Day finally arrives, they're seen racing along Brinton's Road, a back street of Southampton, to the Embarkation Hut S4 in Northam, close to the present-day soccer stadium. Today a cement works occupies the site, and we can see that a dredger leaves the quayside to make its way out to the Solent on the same course taken by the LCTs to Normandy in 1944. In the film, detachments from the 86th Field Regiment Royal Artillery, the 5th East Yorkshire Regiment and the 50th Division's Service Unit, as well as the No. 9 Beach Group, board LCT 735. The plan is for the Beach Group to manage the beachhead so that no bottlenecks occur and that troops and equipment get off the beach as quickly as possible. Of course, when this film was made, none of the troops could be sure whether they would succeed or not. As the flotilla makes its way down the River Itchen, on the starboard side, the ships carrying more infantry are loading alongside the Prince of Wales quayside, where Prime Minister Winston Churchill saw the assault troops board their ships ready for D-Day, where the landing craft first assembled. As we approach Southampton water, a Sunderland flying boat is seen ready to touch down, probably with top brass to supervise the landings. Gold Beach was located between Port-en-Bessin to the west and La Rivière on the east. High cliffs at the western end of the zone meant that the landings took place on the flat section between La Hamelle and La Rivière, in the sectors codenamed Jig and King. On D-Day at Gold, naval bombardment got underway at 5:30 and amphibious landings commenced at 7:25. High winds made conditions difficult and the amphibious DD tanks were released close to shore or directly on the beach itself instead of further out as planned. 3 of the 4 guns in a large emplacement at the Longueur-sur-Mer battery were disabled by direct hits from the cruisers Ajax and Argonaut at 6:20. The 4th gun resumed firing intermittently in the afternoon, and its garrison only surrendered on the 7th of June. Aerial attacks failed to hit the Hamel strongpoint, which had its embrasure facing east to provide infidel fire along the beach and had a thick concrete wall on the seaward side impeding the advance of infantry. Its 75mm gun continued to do damage until 1600 hours, when an armoured vehicle Royal Engineers AVRE fired a large petard bomb into its rear entrance. A second casement emplacement at La Rivière containing an 88mm gun was neutralised by 7:30. The British commandos of No. 47 Royal Marine Commando advanced on Port-en-Bessin and captured it on the 7th of June. On the western flank, the 1st Battalion Hampshire Regiment captured Arromanches, future site of one of the artificial harbours, and the 69th Infantry Brigade on the eastern flank made contact with the Canadian forces at Juno. Company Sergeant Major Stanley Hollis of D Company 6th Battalion Green Howards received the only Victoria Cross awarded on D-Day for his actions while attacking 2 pillboxes at Montfleury. Due to stiff resistance from the German 352nd Infantry Division, Bayeux was not captured until the next day. On D-Day, the Allies used 768 LCTs, 444 at the Anglo-Canadian beaches and 324 in the American landings. British crewed LCTs operated at all 5 Allied beaches on and after D-Day, not just the Anglo-Canadian beaches. Nearly 100 Royal Navy LCT crewmen were killed during the Normandy landings. The figure for US LCT crew deaths was not researched. British casualties at Gold are estimated at over 1,000. German casualties are unknown.